organizational development. And as we were saying, you were asking the question?
The support of upper management when it comes to organizational change, because organizational change is actually the buzzword for many organizations, but there is no authentic changes being implemented, orchestrated from the top.
Exactly. So I always start by helping the top team transform themselves. Individually, each person has to make a commitment to transform and be totally different than what they are. And number two, the team has to learn how to work together more effectively. And then third, they need to figure out in an aligned way how they're going to lead the rest of the organization.
And that may be the most difficult part, because if the management doesn't walk the talk, the people always model themselves after the managers. Oh, for me to get promoted, I have to be, acting like this person. If they don't act according to what their decision is, what their transformed way of being is supposed to be, that's going to kill transformation and change in milliseconds.
I have an idea. I don't know if it helps. In America, everybody calls their boss by their first names. In this country, no way. Has to be a ma'am, sir, or director, or a director, or secretary, or whatever. So I like that idea. In Europe also, they call their boss not sir. They will just call it Peter, and he's the big director.
Right. True. I have an example of that for 3M, probably one of the most innovative companies in the world. When anybody comes into the organization under 25, the CEO goes and interviews them.
Oh, that's a good idea, yes.
And to get their ideas about how they would like to work and about what's going on in their society world, and listens.
And that's a good idea, because as a 25-year-old and a newcomer, a green, a novel comer would say, wow, I was interviewed by the CEO.
Not only that,
and you know it was fairly done because it's the CEO himself who's talking to you.
And young people do have fresh ideas, great ideas that may not be, you as a seasoned and experienced executive may not be aware of if you are confined in your office the whole time.
In your just department. But a CEO is an overall seer to a company. That's a good idea. So for those, I hope, Bjorn, you're the one teaching also, and you guys teaching all these big companies, top 100s in the Philippines. I think they should stop this being too boss-like. Even if you're a manager, it's kind of scary, right? To even go to a manager. And there are times when I go to a bank and I want something, and I know she's not going to make the decision. So I say, bring me your manager, or the one who can make the decision now.
They should be able to make the decision.
And they will say, why mom, why mom? I said, because I know you're not going to make it, so let me talk to the person. And normally I get it.
This kind of structure is very important in a society where everything is top down, where there's one leader, like one king, right? Or one emperor, and then everything has to be followed down the line. Everybody has a rank, and the one below them has to follow the one above them, all the way down to the family, where the oldest has the say, and the father, and then the mother, and then the oldest, and the second oldest, and so forth, down to the baby, right? Everybody has to fall in line. And in a society where everything's top down, that's how it worked. But in today's society, where you have to do so much more with so much less, that does no longer work.
And time.
Right? It does no longer work. Everybody has to be operating independently with a vision, with a purpose, with some values. And when you can do that, you can unleash the potential so much more of so many more people and so many more organizations, entire communities, and even countries.
Okay, back to our human resources that they have to take care of. So how about giving them a good time for their health, exercise? A company should have their own facility.
Absolutely. Medtronic, who has the leading medical manufacturer of the world, they have their health club right in the company. It's no longer in vogue to have donuts for meetings, no coffee, there's no pop, it's all fresh juice, it's fresh fruit, People are not having meetings sitting in chairs. They're encouraged to go walk around the walk of the campus as they meet with the executives.
Wow.
And so you know, they're really wanting to have their employees to be healthy, because healthy employees are more productive and happier.
And in part of your development organization programs, you teach this management to do this.
I don't teach anything.
Oh no, I mean
I
give them the
facilitate the
system.
wisdom coming from them, and I facilitate. I also have a degree in education, and the Latin says "reducere" means to bring out of the wisdom of the student, not to pour in.
Yes.
And so lectures
bring
or
out,
telling doesn't work. We have to help people discover themselves, their truth. We have to help the organization discover themselves, who they are, who they need to be. We can't have the CEO telling them how to be, because the change is too rapid, and the CEO can't begin to figure out what's happening with the customers today or in large organizations. The people know.
Yeah, okay, so health now is being facilitated to them. A healthy environment where in the snacking, when there are meetings, long meetings, should be healthy, not Coca-Cola and coffee. They're going up and then later going home. They're so unuseful to their families, right?
It's like the name brand names.
Yes.
And also the facilities in their companies where there should be a good coffee shop, a good eatery, wherein they serve good food, right?
Exactly. Healthy food.
How about for the women who are breastfeeding?
They
They
should be able to breastfeed, and women should be allowed to bring their children to work. In some cases, you know, they have the daycare center right there.
Yes.
They can go down at their break to see how their children are doing. So if we take care of our people, they will do better work for us.
That's true, and that's not being given. There are no facilities for a daycare center per building, even it's the most expensive building, and there should be a breast nursery, breastfeeding station, and also some eatery or restaurants or coffee shops for the employees. You know what being sold there? I would not even eat.
You're right, I wouldn't either. Here's another thing that's happening in some of the avant-garde organizations. This is Martinoff again. They have a chapel where people can go. It's non-denominational. They can have quiet time.
Right.
And the other thing that's sweeping the real avant-garde organization is a concept called mindfulness. And that is simply meditation, where people are encouraged to learn how to relax and go into their subconscious to find their problems, solutions to their problems. And so some of the training facilities are teaching people how to get in touch with their inner self, or as you mentioned, maybe even the higher power.
And should it be, and we encourage companies to then give them extra time for breaks?
Yes.
Like lunch break, sometimes the people don't get lunch
Right.
break. They should have a lunch break.
Sure. Or I just have another organization, this is Honeywell, they now have stand-up desks where a person can have 2 or 3 positions in your body while you're working. You can sit down, you can stand up, the computer
Oh, that's
is
a good
here.
one.
Yes.
You call it a stand-up?
Yes, or a nice big beanbag chair where they can relax. And one organization even has hammocks.
Yeah, and I see even those big balls for just stretching and sitting down and exercising their back.
Yes. And at noon you can take an exercise class.
Roland, can you also describe to us, you know, a lot of companies in the Philippines, we're actually described as the most exciting place in Asia because
You
we
are.
have huge, you know, change and growth happening in the country. However, a lot of the companies, they are familiar with HR, but not so familiar with organization development. Can you share, you know, like what can be a good structure that can be put in place, or maybe just give some of the
Yes.
companies could be listening now, what can be,
Well,
as a start?
first thing they should do is they should probably hire somebody who is a good organizational development person, and that's not, and their HR and OD are different. I have in my new book distinguishing between the two. HR takes care of the people and the personnel and the training. Organization development is not part of the system. It is the system facilitator, and it is concerned on the whole organization, where when the people see the HR person coming to deal with change, they say, uh-oh, they're going to make me change some policy or something, and they have an agenda. They're pushing these values, the corporate values on a laminated card that everybody's cynical about, and so the OD person is neutral and cares about the whole, not any one function, and truthfully, I believe the Philippines is the best trained country in the world outside the United States in organization development. They're here, but they're having a tough time getting acceptance from the leadership to do what they need to do to help. So
I think this kind of organization development should be exposed. We should be writing about this every day in the newspaper, so the management in these countries will be a little bit better for humanistic values.
yes,
What makes OD what makes it interesting for CEOs? You know, why should a CEO be interested in having good organization development?
because I can give you results where at Allstate, the largest personal insurance company in the world, in the United States, increased their customer satisfaction from 77 to 84%. And before the use of organization development, it never moved more than 1%. Well, that was huge. That's probably why they're thriving today like not before. And so the impact can be serious. I'll give you one other case why they should do it. This is Indonesia. This is the largest cement company in Indonesia. Maja and I were just there working, and we integrated the 3 largest companies in cement in the country, and the stock price went from 8,000 to 12,000 while we were there, and right now, Maja just checked, it's at 25,000, and the CEO, Dr. Diaz, which we're going to share this in a couple of conferences here in Asia, has just been appointed to run their #1 energy company, and their dream is to be the leading Asian energy company with all the new solar and stuff. So we have the cases for success.
So in that sense also you can pinpoint when the companies going to really progress, is it really in a good direction, and you can facilitate them by using their people.
The research on the University of Southern California with Dr. Lawler says they followed 40 companies for 30 years. The companies that engage their people and master change do better on the stock market than any other. So that's why we should do it. It helps them be more successful.
You also facilitated them or tell them that the people who are working under the lower management have the potential to increase their potential to be better and to be also on the top.
Exactly. That's what, and so people need to be motivated. They need to be helped to change, and the culture around them has to change so that they can do their work better.
But there are some people who cling on to their position, and there's someone who is better, but because it's still who you know, not what you know, and they stay in there, right?
Yeah, and
how do you correct
most people resist change.
Oh yeah. Yes, they resist change because they're not authentically involved.
In a recent study, Roland, it's been found that big companies, for example, like Best Buy in the US,
Yes.
they benefit from each improvement of 0.1%. Imagine 0.1%
Right.
of employee engagement. The company profits $100,000.
Yeah, that's a great
Minimum,
statistic.
right? How does OD impact engagement?
Whoa! Airbus, part of EDS, the largest defense company in the world, just used our process. They just had their 5th large group interactive event. And I haven't been there for now 2 years. And the Gallup poll research on engagement was given to all 500 of the businesses of EADS. The IT division of Airbus went right to the top because of OD. And the CAO just got CIO of Germany because they said he had the ability to engage his people. And because his people were engaged, the IT division was able to turn around the way they worked with the customers who were making the airplanes and listen to them and work together collaboratively, and the financial results and the other results have just been stupendous.
Oh, so in this country, have you worked on a lot of those top 100 management in this country?
Not in this country.
Not yet.
I'd love to.
In 31 countries, you work for 1,000 organizations.
Yes. But not in the
Philippines.
I have to think about who I worked with. We worked with a few in the Philippines. Yes.
You should be the guest for the PMP, Philippine Top Management of the Philippines. Are you a member of that? PMA?
Association.
MAP?
The top 100 MAP.
Yeah.
Maybe Roland can share about last week.
Actually, they were interested, but there was too short of notice to make something happen. But
And the
they're interested.
Rotarians. You should
Well,
be
yes.
talking
Oh,
to
no,
this
no.
lady.
We're going to be talking to him this next week.
Yes.
The president and the executive director.
Oh,
Bjorn and Vicky introduced us to him,
Yes.
and they're very excited.
Pima.
okay.
Yes. Oh, Pima. Was
I
that
would like to
different?
be
That was
there. I
different.
used to be a member.
Oh, I thought it was the same.
Yes.
Yes, they're very excited because they see
The potential.
the potential and the responsibility that they have to their people and the companies
Yeah.
and the country.
So really, this organizational development is really for humanistic values, right?
Yes, plus to help the entire organization be effective through the use of people.
That's right. So, wow, if only we could teach all our management that, or facilitate them to open their eyes and be aware of how to do better managing.
They must do this or they're not going to survive. I want to give you Drucker.
Peter Drucker.
Peter Drucker is without question the #1 business guru of the last century. The Drucker Institute just met 2,500 people a couple of months ago in Vienna. Their conference was titled Transformation. At the end of the conference, including David Uldrich was there and Hammer, they recognized that the world managers do not know how to transform organizations. And they say, that is our challenge. Right now, you go to their website and see this. Well, I know how to do that. Maja and I know how to do it. and so what they're really saying is if you don't transform, you're not going to take advantage of the tremendous marketing opportunities that are available because of globalization.
So with that company goal of transformation, doesn't it start with personal?
It starts with the individual, and it starts with the group that the individual is with in the moment. And it's how they show up with each other. They have empathy. They use emotional intelligence. They lead at Allstate. John, who just got the change maker of the award for the entire company because of our work, said before people used to always leave their brains at the door. And now, with the use of organization development and a new trusting culture, they can think with each other. They don't have the fear of the boss. And therefore, they're going to reach the potential faster. In that case, the results, they spend $6 million on the organization development effort, and we can measure return of 96 million. Allstate measures everything because they're an accounting financial organization, and everything that they measure went in the right direction.
I hope you got at least 10% of that. If they paid you 10%, that would have been a bargain, right?
What I got out of it is my daughter, on her own, found a job at that company. And when I started, there was one OD person. Now she's a group of 20. At 27, the only one without a master's or a PhD. And now she is getting this success that I got at her age.
What a double bargain.
Yeah, right.
They should pay you a commission for that too.
Right. But the point is that we know now how to transfer this. We know how to give it to the organization. Because at Airbus that I just mentioned, they just emailed me and said, we've just had our best 300 large group interactive events ever in the history of the company. Because OD teaches you how to learn, how to change, and do it yourself without expensive outside consultants.
Yeah, so transformation is not really just about change, because there could be good change or bad change.
Yes.
To me, transformation is more about unleashing potential.
Yes, correct.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
So, in a nutshell, so far, what you're doing, Roland, is, of course, the underlying organization development are for humanistic values, and so far, we have found out, as we are talking, that's really good for providing opportunities for people to function as human beings rather than as resources and productive. And secondly, we have provided opportunities for organization members as well as for the organization itself to develop for its full potential.
Yep.
As you said, the Boeing 747 has become better. And then it shows that the development organization development is also good in increasing the effectiveness of that organization or company for all of its goals.
You listened very well and summarized very well.
Yeah. So let's continue. I have another question. Okay. So what does it mean by this organization development that it can also attempt to create an environment in which it is possible to find exciting and challenging work?
Whoa. You talked about the word environment.
Love your question, Yankee.
Yeah, beautiful.
You want to take a crack at that first?
No, I'm very inspired to hear what Roland is going to say.
Yes.
Well, when people are liberated, they find work that excites them and they have a passion for it. At 3M, in my hometown, people are given free time. I forget 10% of their time just to experiment and play and follow their interests and find work that they're excited about, that they want to do. Okay? And so when an organization's culture is trusting, open, self-realizing, and interdependent or connected or networked with whoever they want to talk to whenever, and there's no boundaries between the divisions or top to bottom, this free-spirited human being flourishes.
And have you experienced that in some companies, Joe?
Oh, absolutely. Actually, that's how I got started in OD. When I was with Mercedes-Benz in California, we kind of had that. The person at the lowest ranking person on the organization chart could walk into the president's office anytime to anyone, and exchange ideas, brainstorm. They were like equals, even though we had different titles, you know. But in terms of us wanting the organization to be successful, we were equals to each other, right? Because we all wanted the same thing.
What about the Philippines? Have you experienced that
in
here?
this country, have you gone through some companies of difficulty?
Some of the companies that I've worked with, we've been able to create that. Yeah, but it takes some time, like Roland says, right? It takes some time.
So how do you introduce that?
Very simply, you start with a pilot group. You get one team and take them through a process. Maja and I have a process I haven't changed since 1978. And when we go through that process, they get it. They say, "Oh my gosh, now how do they get it?" And now, then we start a process where we get representatives from the rest of the organization, maybe 10 of them, and given the transformation direction from the top, they sit down and figure out how to have an interactive meeting with 200 to 1,000 people, where then they start taking responsibility for their own future. And in that process, what happens is that they get a new identity. They discover something else that they weren't, and then they consciously give up those old things that they weren't doing, because we got to do the new things, because as Marshall Goldsmith says, one of the best executive coaches in the world, Bjorn, I know you know him, he says, whatever got you here is not going to get you there. You have to change. And if you don't change, you're not going to get promoted in the new thriving organizations. And if the organization doesn't change, they're going to lose out.
And Marlyn, you said it right earlier. You said people usually leave their brain at the door, right? When you engage people, when you align people, when you get them to not check in their brains at the door and have their brains on all the time, right? It's kind of like this concept of a supercomputer.
Yeah.
And you know what a supercomputer is? It's when we use thousands, maybe millions of computers, right, to help you compute some things. And that's kind of like how it is in an organization. Instead of just one person thinking of it, or a group, a small group of people thinking of it, now you have hundreds, maybe thousands of people thinking about how to solve this issue.
Because in this country, still, the good people stagnate, because the big boss is the one thinking for everyone and deciding for everyone. But if I would be a manager,
it doesn't matter how good your brain is. It's never going to match 1,000 computers or 100 computers. It doesn't. It will not. It will not.
So in that sense, what we were talking about, that you bring in the excellence in a person, is, I think, if I would be the manager, I would say, okay, we have a problem, and we thought, I don't know how to focus on this or how to strategize on solving this. How about you go to home and then give me in your own way how you would do it. And if I've been a manager, I'll bring everything. Oh, this is a good idea for what you did. And then you can bring the best in people.
And that should be done in person. I asked the Coco, you know, the Chrysler CEO. Yeah. What one bit of wisdom did he have to give? He says, when you have a problem, get the right people together and lock them in a hotel room and a hotel until they come out with a solution.
Same with the jury, right?
Yes.
And that's like the best decision for juries. Okay, Philippines, don't go away, because we'll be having more of this conversation. We'll just go for a short break.
All right.
So how we
that's
do?
what jury do.
That's right.
The BBC
Yes.
That's very, very, very hard decision to judge.
That's right.
That's a good idea. If I would be a manager, I would bring my top group of people and say, okay, here's the question.
That's right.
Give it to me when you're ready.
That's right. That's right. Get input from them all.
Yeah, get an input from everyone.
So how we doing?
Very
Check.
good.
Good.
So these are the very questions that I see when I go to companies, like pro-life, whether it be insurance, because I go and I see the problem as a customer.
Right.
You know, so I'm just giving you those questions.
But I didn't want to say something different. I don't believe in problem solving anymore. This passage. Instead, you know, you might want to ask me about that, because what's really going on is the new shift to positive social psychology.
No more problem solving.
Yes,
But
and I got some resources and things I can talk about that.
shifting to
Positive to aspiration. In other words, let's not talk about what's wrong. Let's talk about what we want to be and how we're going to get there.
Yeah, because it's positive thinking, right? right?
Exactly.
So no more this, what's the problem? I say, how do we get there?
Yes.
It's more like a future focus rather than
Right, and I don't know if you know Dr. Kragh. She was a leader at the Sede here, and she was just given an award for the Philippine who has done most to help the world.
Roger Broadcasting Network Incorporated.
All
Member
into
Kasana Broadcasters.
Yes.
and using the whole brain, the heart
planned and
plus
perfected
the
for more than 14
passion,
years,
the intuitive plus
available in the market.
the
It sounds like
male.
5 guitars in one.
So it's not saying it's empty, it's half full.
Right, and the other thing you might want to bring out of me is